We're live. We're back. It's the Ascend Business Show. It's a Thursday. It's 11 Eastern. Means it's go time. We're going to talk to you today about some ton of stuff. We got a really good action-packed show for you. But the theme, how to create revenue right now, still this year, and set yourself up for an unbelievable January to have the best year yet. We'll be back in 60.
Power to pay. Power to
I love that, man. It's so fun every time.
Gets me
Welcome
juiced.
back.
I'm so glad
Yeah.
that's our intro.
Are you pumped, guys? Well, thanks for joining us on the show today. We see some of you coming on now. Thanks for being with us. We're excited to have you here. You're not going to want to go away. I strongly recommend, if you ever did this, do it today. Get a pen and paper or get ready to type some notes, because we're going to give you tons of value on this show today that you will love, especially if you're a business owner, if you are a sales leader, if you're a top producer and you want to get more done, make more money. You're going to love this show. So, Bill, good to have you back.
James, great to be here. Happy holidays to those of you who at least experienced a holiday and look forward to holidays coming up. No matter what you celebrate, we're just very happy for you, and hopefully you've had a great year. We're committed to your success, and all the best to you and your family and your friends. You deserve it. And I'm just so excited to be with you today. We've got a lot to help you manage the next couple of weeks and get excited for 2022, because it is, I believe, 24 business days away from the first business day, January 3rd of the new year. So strap in.
That is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So we're going to talk to you about several things, and we're just going to get right into it because we want to get you what you need for right now. And we want your feedback. Tell us if this is helpful for you guys. Tell us if this is something that you were like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed to hear today. We're hoping that's the case. But share how to be successful and have more time. What's up, Estella? You got it. It's coming. That's a really good place to start. One thing that we have heard so much in the last few weeks is just everyone's swamped. Everyone's super busy and they want to get more done. They want more results, but they're just like, how? How are we supposed to do more? I feel like I'm working already 12, 14, 16 hours, burning both ends, and I got family and I got responsibilities at home. And it's just like, where can we squeeze more to get more out of this year? Right. So, first things first, we're going to give you some really tactical places to focus on your business right now for planning next year, but also to captivate leads right now that you can go back to and potentially close in the next 2 weeks. Does that sound good? So that's where we're going to focus first, guys, is a couple of numbers you need to know and think about if you haven't been doing this in your business in the last year, last month, or lately, is this right here. Revisit your close rate and your SQLs, your sales qualified leads, for clues to what activity levels you need to do for closing business now and proper forecasting for next year. This sounds kind of boring, but I'm assuring you that it is really, really important to do. Why? Well, if it's not obvious, you need to know. If you don't know what your close rate is, you're not going to be able to forecast your year at all. like you're going to miss. You're going to want to say, I want to make $1 million. I want to have this great revenue year. I want to grow my team. I want to hire people. Great. You need to know your P&L. You need to know how much money you're going to make. And you can't be guessing. Like, you have to know with the science how you're going to get there. This is how you get there. Got to know your close rate. What is a close rate? Super simple. All you need to do is look at your sales appointments that you've had this year. Go back through your calendar. Go through your Google Calendar, your Microsoft, Outlook calendar, whatever it is. Look at all the sales appointments you had that were qualified leads that could have bought from you. And then look at the ones that did. Look how many you converted. Whatever that percentage is, that's your close rate. All right. And so, if it's like 10%, 15%, we need to have a whole different conversation about that. But chances are you're probably somewhere in like the 25 to 45% range. If you're above 50, that's amazing. And that's a whole actually different conversation that you probably want to look at your pricing, because you don't want to actually close too much. If you're closing everything, then you probably are leaving margin on the table that you could be making in your business, and margin helps grow your business, right?
Can I add some dimension to those numbers, James?
Yeah.
Here's what I've seen. A little bit of wisdom from the gray-haired guy here for change.
Yeah.
So close rates. To me, if your close rate is somewhere anywhere between 10 to 15%, maybe in the high teens, there's something missing there. Either your prospecting activity isn't high enough, you are not getting to the person of consequence, and you're not getting enough at bats. So that's typically, you got to see more to win more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's typical what I've seen. For those folks who are, this is around the average, what we've seen between 20 to 25%, that means to me that you're doing all the work. You're initiating, you're generating your own leads, you're nurturing your leads, you're following it up, you're trying to close it all yourself. And your pipeline fill is not getting enough support from your ecosystem, your referral and introductions ecosystem. And what I've seen is the salespeople that have anywhere between a 30 to 35% close ratio, as high as 40, means that they're doing a couple things. They've intentionally cultivated a center of influence network, a referral ecosystem. Number one. Number two, they find the time for exquisite customer relationship management and relationship development. And they're always looking for, in the midst of their current project, they're always looking for the next project.
Mm-hmm.
When we're working at our clients, I'm always looking for 3 streams of work. And that helps us in our qualification. Where can we be of consequence to a particular account? So those of you kind of in the 20, maybe slightly less than 20, above 20, your business is pretty good, but it's probably transactional. And again, you're doing all the work. So to boost your close rates is you want to do a couple things have to happen simultaneously. So you want to fire up your ecosystem, more referrals, more inbound leads coming to you that are warm, and there's already a message and familiarity and like-mindedness. 2, we need to sell more meetings. This is still a contact sport. And what you can get done in 15 to 20 minutes on a Zoom for an initial meeting, that is possible today. It's not fool's gold. So that's number 2. Number 3, we need to think about leveraging our issue fluency and wear our business hat so we can kind of move upstream into our accounts and start having business conversations and the problems related to the business and the supply chain and the value chain, so that your solutions resonate and contribute to the higher mind of the organization, as opposed to the thing, the widget, the service, the element of where you insert yourself.
Yep.
That's when you are of consequence, that's when your close ratios go a little higher. So now you have to be mindful of how you use your time, and that's another discussion we're going to have. But those are some windows around those 3 levels of close ratios and how you can boost them. So to that fact, though, we can help you go from moderate to pretty exceptional performance on your close rate today, if you listen to what James and I are going to share with you over the next couple minutes.
I'm glad you added that context, Bill, because it's so true. It's like, well, one, like if you're getting like a bunch of just, booked demos that they don't really know you at all, you've never talked to them before. There's a lot that has to happen then that you just laid out that you need to go through with those prospects to close them. right? They're not like they know you well, they know you personally, they know your business, they know they are aware clearly of how you help companies. Like none of that could be there with a book call per se. You got to do all that work you just laid out there to warm that up to a high close percentage versus just getting a sales meeting. There's a very different difference there, right? Um, but then going back to leads and closing business now, guys, while you do all those things that Bill just laid out, which are essential, and you're going to close more business if you get to the point in those conversations where you are clearly articulating their business problem. You're clearly showing some thought leadership around what is needed in that situation to improve it, to fix, move forward. Not even talking about you yet, really, just some thought leadership ideas, some things that they can research if they wanted to and find that you're right. Like, the third party research would agree with what you're saying, like, that kind of advice that you're giving them. But then showing and demonstrating an actual pathway to a result that they can get relatively soon. That's what people want today. No matter what you're selling out there, whatever your service is, your product, people don't care about a lot of the features in it. They just want the dang result, and they want it now or as fast as they can. And if you can get them there and you can show them how to get there and demonstrate that, articulate that, visualize that, portray that, all of the above, they're going to be interested, right? Because they just need they need to be assured. That's the other thing. They need to be assured that there's a way. And the ways that they're doing it right now aren't working. And so if you can be that advisor to them, that's what they want, right? That's going to help your close rate a lot. Now, that being said, you may have missed and struck out on a lot of those conversations this year. It's okay. Maybe you weren't as tight on your value proposition back a few months ago. Maybe you weren't clear on your offer. Maybe you've changed how you've approached businesses today. There could be a million different things that you've changed this year, and you probably did. So the people that you talked to before probably don't know the level up you've done to get to where you are today. And they would most likely benefit if you could redo that conversation again, replay it. The version that you have today, they could benefit from. So what you need to do is you need to go back and go back in time, look at all your SQLs, look at all your sales appointments, and make a list. Those were at one point hot leads, probably, right? Or warm leads. Go back. And this is a part of our strategy. We talk about this all year. It's very relevant to this conversation today. But this is how to stack your pipeline. This is a guide, guys. We call it 21 ways to accelerate your pipeline. This is one of the principles that we talk about in this action guide. And you can get this right now, download it for free. All you got to do is text that number on your screen there. Just text that number as send, and we'll send it right to you right now. It's awesome. But it talks about in here what we're saying, which is go back to all your appointments. Go back to all those leads you didn't close and get them on a list. Get them in your CRM. Get them in a ready to go plan, and start emailing and calling these people right now in the next few days, and ask if they still have that issue. I'm telling you, if you want a fast action response and some quick pick me up from where we were type conversations, go right back to them right now and say, hey, it's been a while, guys. I hope you've had a lot of success this year. We sure have. And I was just thinking of you. One, I wanted to wish you a happy holiday season and appreciate our conversation this year. But two, I was genuinely curious. Last time we spoke, you said this was going on in your business. Is this still the case today? And wait, right? And they'll tell you, right? It may be like, no, we figured it out. We this is what we're doing up to now. And actually, I'm actually glad you reached out. Here we're doing this, and we're thinking about this. There might be a whole new opportunity for you. Or they could say, and this has happened because we've done this, and this is what people are saying to us, as they'll say, no, you know what? We're still in the same spot. We're still in the same spot that we were in March. What? Like, dude, you had 9 months to fix that. You're still there? What? Like, we gotta talk. We have up leveled some things that we're doing that could help you. Would you be open to having a conversation again?
See, that's what I like, James. What you just said right there to me is, if it's been a few months, and again, you're right on. It's amazing. James and I uncover leads. We're all busy people, right? And just so you know, if you haven't had a chance to follow up on a lead, or it's been a couple months, please do not be too hard on yourself, right? Busy people. That's why you're listening to sessions like this. It's to remind us and get good tips. And we're all busy people. But one of the things you might want to think about is, if you've got prospects where there was an issue, some pebble in their shoe that was resonating, and it was frustrating. The one tact is to say, "Hey, listen, are you still experiencing it?" The other is where I think you can add value and shift the conversations to say, "Here's what we're seeing. Here's what others in your space are doing about it.
Yep.
Here's what's standing in the way. Here's some potential options. Let's talk for 15 or 20 minutes. I've got some great research for you."
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you can go back and say, listen, we all live by now a huge degree of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. And, we can play upon that in a very strategic way. The other thing is you're going to look at these leads and you're probably going to find more than 5. Let's just say if you're stuck with 20, you need to think about, okay, well, how are you going to prioritize that? So a couple things when you do this lead stacking exercise, and I really encourage you to download our lead stacking exercise, the freemium we have, the 21 ways to accelerate your pipeline. It's a really good tool, is to think about this concept around what to do now before the end of the year. And my famous phrase is, do what's closest to the money first.
Yes, always.
Right?
Always.
If you still have some proposals laying out there in maybe land, you got to call the ball, and I want to talk about a closing discipline you can use. That's something to say, hey, listen, let's relieve us both of the incompleteness of having our conversations kind of hang, right? I know that in many cases, some organizations financial professionals or leadership are asking for money back, to put money back to close the year strong, or budgets are still being confirmed for next year. That's a reality. What I try to do is, clients, just let me know what the situation is. It's okay, because you'd rather have a no than a maybe, right? And I think your organization would always appreciate an accurate forecast.
Mm-hmm.
But you also want to be able to go back with context. And at this point, for the next couple of weeks, to close something out, you're selling comfort. I would not lead with an incentive like a discount or money off, because I use the phrase in negotiation skills, beware the naked number.
Yep.
Because if you're telling me 20, I'm like, well, why not 30? And why did you start there?
Exactly.
There's no consequence there. It's like, listen, let me help you accelerate this opportunity, or add some value added service that costs very little to you or to the organization, but has a high value to your client. Like for James and I, we can add additional messages for your our AI prospecting campaigns. We can add additional online virtual coaching sessions to our training engagements. They're still valuable, and there's a high dollar ring associated with those. But for us, if we could add a few of those, right, we're still working out of our office and wearing jeans and our sweaters and feeling comfortable and just adding some additional value. That's high value for a client. So I would lead with additional insights, updates, additions to sweetening the pot, not in terms of a discount, but greater deliverables that have a high value, high perceived value, but a low actual cost to your organization, to try to get things going. And the third thing you want to think about is the things that you can do. What you want to celebrate is you want to load up your January. And if you're selling anything at this stage, all you got to be selling right now is selling the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's different. Selling the meeting is reasons to meet. When we meet, here's the topic. Here's how it's going to help you. Here's where folks in your space and your role. Remember, value is industry and role specific. Go Google the job description of the people that you're calling on. It'll tell you what they're challenged with. And, in many, in different countries, different economies around the world, there is somewhat of a shutdown for the end of the year holidays. But I don't think that's happening this year here. You're going to have some interruption. You're going to have a few days here and there. But with this little guy and us kind of working around the edges of finding a ways to get work done, whether it's late at night after kids have gone to sleep or early in the morning because, hey, I'm a riser, I can get this done and then go get that workout class I wanted to attend, but I put my 4 hours in before that or 3 hours, whatever it takes. You're going to find your power hours. Your clients are doing the same thing.
Yep. Yeah.
So don't fall into that trap. Push ahead, be of value, do what's closest to the money first. And as you're thinking about January, all you got to think about is selling more meetings. And if your close
Yeah.
ratio is down below 15%, whatever you're doing, double it.
Yeah.
If your close ratio is around 20 to 25%, reach out to your stakeholders, your centers of influence, and any introduction. Send them a thank you note, send them a gift, say, hey, listen, sorry we've been out of touch, but 2022 is going to be a great year. I cannot wait to be your thinking partner. You want to set the tone for keeping your inbound referrals and your introductions rich as you look to do the same for your network. And James, let me get your reaction to that. That was kind of a mouthful.
No. I mean, it's all true. Like you want to sell the meeting right now for 2022. Now, I wanted to add some flavor to that, which is, careful of your mindset right now with how you're doing this. Like there's a lot of assumptions that are baked into holidays with business. And I will tell you, and I heard this from a great mentor and friend of mine earlier this week, and I could not agree more. And it's what I'm about to share with you. It's, the fact that it is December, 8th today, 9th today, 24 days left. I can't count. 16 days till Christmas. Is that right? Wow. Holiday lights. That's why we got those on, right? But seriously, it's December 9th. When you blink up and look, it's going to be January 1st, holidays. Yeah, true. But really, this time frame is no different in a lot of ways than any other point in the year. Like we're the only ones that know time. Like business doesn't know time per se. Things are going to happen in everyone's business. And a lot of those things don't care about if it's the holidays or not. And you could have some flare-ups in people's businesses right now. I will tell you, it's interesting. I'm gonna validate what my buddy told me on Tuesday right now. Because he was so right. It was all like it sounded great, but then these things actually happen literally within the next 48 hours of when I heard these things. So first of all, I'm going to tell you assumptions that are killing you that are wrong. Waiting till the end of the year to do stuff. Assume that prospects aren't buying right now. Trying to book meetings directly during the holidays and people aren't willing to do that. Right? None of those are true. None of those are true. People are waiting for the perfect time to reach out. You're waiting to be more ready and better than you are today to start. That's also wrong thinking. Like you have to start now. You have to start today. You just have to go. But what's really going on in business right now is that your client just lost one of the key players yesterday and put in their notice and they're gone. And they now have lost 5, 10, 15, 25% of their production and operational capacity because they just lost somebody. They need help. They need help with their sales. They need help with their marketing. They need help with hiring. They need help with planning, forecasting. They need help. And they just lost someone that they counted on to do all that work that now they're in a scramble because it's the holidays and they don't have a plan B. People have deals that need to be closed still right now. They're looking at their books and they're like, we're not where we need to be for revenue. We need to figure out a way to close some more deals still this year. We can't coast into January. Right. And so there's a lot of people that fit what I just said. And even just those two examples that literally is going on right now in their business. So for you to not reach out and help them is crazy. So maybe they'll tell you, you know what? I appreciate the reach out. I'm actually glad you did, but I think we'll be okay. Let's meet in January. Perfect. Right? Because if there's no business now, then the next thing is, well, let's meet in January and talk about it. Like if you're not ready, if you're booked, you can't meet today, but you know you need to fix this or address this, then let's make sure that we talk about it in January because of what Bill said. We got research. Here's what we're seeing. I want to share this with you. These things are going to help you. These are going to help you focus and execute properly for starting the year right. Like that's the kind of stuff you got to share with your leads, right? So, but change your mindset, because if you're telling yourself we're done, the year's toast, there's nowhere to help, I'm telling you right now, that's all wrong. Billions of dollars, millions of dollars are literally exchanging themselves right now in this moment, as we speak, literally in the entire marketplace. Business is happening, guys. So do you want to be in that too, or do you want to just sit on the bench? It's up to you. But I'm telling you, there's tons of business to still happen in the next 16 plus days. I'll yield my time. I'll give it back to you, Bill.
No, the gentleman is recognized. I mean, I think this puts a little bit of onus on us now, is to create those lists of reasons to meet.
Mm-hmm.
And so think less about, okay, what I can sell and what we have that might be of interest. Turn yourself inside out. Think about the role, think about their title, think about their industry, think about their geography, think about their culture, think about if they are a private company, PE company, funded by private equity, or a public company, or privately held, as I mentioned before, to think about what types of pressures, what might be changing, and what the personal self-interests are of the person that you're calling on. We all have more time to do research. We're crawling all over social media. We're devouring white papers and thought pieces and research for sure, but there's always something missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we need to be, not a research librarian, but more of a value creator in finding really interesting insights to draw upon. James and I did this. We started a year ago, realizing companies their business models were not ready for a digital environment. They just weren't,
Mm-hmm.
but were very resilient, and they got there. And now both companies, selling companies and buying companies, are like, hey, we like this. I don't need to go back to the old way. Let's engage online. I saw what you posted on LinkedIn. I know what you stand for. I love
Mm-hmm.
what your company is doing in the communities that you serve. That's great.
Yep.
But you have to find those couple nuggets, those couple hypothetical pebbles in the shoe that you think might be of interest. And sometimes you got to take a chance. Hey, I saw this great article from either Accenture or McKinsey or Deloitte, whatever it might be. Deloitte's doing some great work now about the world of technology. McKinsey's doing a great job around the world of digital business. Really good work, and not just a bunch of research and a repatriation of data. They're making some recommendations, and that's actionable, and that's where I think you can help. And keep sharing that. And another thing that James mentioned, but stay out of your head about this stuff too, right? I'm a big fan of sending an email to say a note within a calendar invite. Hey, James, I know we had some great conversations late October. Crazy how we were just at Thanksgiving and now we're getting ready to tee up towards the end of the year. But there were a couple threads we were pretty hot on together. And I just wanted to send this note to jump back online for 15 or 20 minutes because I have a couple updates for you. And I thought that we can get our conversation started again. And then I'll just say, hey, feel free to adjust as necessary. And I'll just send a calendar invite.
Yeah.
Deferential, respectful. There's a theme. And hey, if you can't make the time, suggest another. 80% of the time that works. The other 20% is you might get a decline. And then I just might say, hey, listen, sorry for interrupting, but you know what? Here are two other times that maybe could work for you.
And that would work, I
Take it
think,
out of the
really
mix.
well.
Take it out of the equation. Stay out of your head.
That would work really well for warm leads, that know you, that you've had some, conversations, some banter with, that feel comfortable. I think that would work really well.
Mm-hmm.
And think about it, guys, like going back to the very beginning of this, right? If you look at your calendar, look at the meetings you've had every month. We do this with business owners. It's a powerful exercise. It really helps you see a sobering reality of what your business actually did in terms of sales and promotion this year. But let's say you had, 10 meetings in February and March that were new, that were like sales qualified new leads. I mean, you probably had some follow-up meetings with some other leads, right? But we're talking brand new people. Let's say you had 10 in February and March each month, right? And then when you look back and you see, oh, shoot, I closed 2 out of those 10 or 3 out of those 10. When you start to get familiar with your close rate and you look at that data and now apply that for future thinking, especially now that you're probably even better and sharper than you were even in March and February, is, well, shoot, if I can get 10 on the books right now for January based on my trending data, I can feel confident and project that I can get 2 to 3 closes at least out of that, because that's what I've been doing. And actually, I feel like I'm even better now. I could probably crank that up to maybe 4 or 5. That's what I want you to think about when we're talking about the numbers and why it's helpful. So that's a goal you can hit. Have a goal. If it's 10, I'm just making this up right now, but let's just say it's 10. Get 10 new meetings set for January. And you can feel confident that you're most likely going to close 2 to 3 of those based on what you've been doing, if not better, and that's how you play the game,
Well, James, let's talk about pipeline math for a second, right?
Yeah.
Because I think related to close rate and how many meetings we want to set, it's always very sobering to me. So let's just take the salesperson who has a quota of 1 million, and they've gone through the exercise and realized that they have a close ratio of 25%.
Mm-hmm.
No value judgment around that. It is what it is.
Yep.
But here's what that now dictates. Based on a close ratio of 25%, you now have to have 4 times the opportunities in your pipeline to make your number. Forget about exceeding it and getting more bonus dollars. So in a sense, you have to have a pipeline value of 4 million.
That's right.
And one of the things we haven't talked about is deal size.
Exactly.
So you need a certain level of deal size to reach that number. But along with deal size comes a protracted and expanded accordion in terms of time, decision-making. Anytime there are more dollars associated with it, when that decimal point moves or that comma moves to the left, it's going to mean more time. So this also speaks to the need for, when you're looking at your next year, is I always look at mix of business. What business can you go out and sell? I call it in consumer products, we used to call it turn stock, right? 85% of the sales are off the shelf. Let's make the shelf look great so we can maximize shelf takeaway. But the other 15 to 20% are promotional impulse, promoted sales. Same thing in how you're setting up your book of business for next year is, number one, I think the pipeline math is telling all of us that we need to sell more meetings.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
The average, in prior to COVID, the average across all business services, if you will, business to business, was at least 5 qualified meetings a week. And now, because we're all working remotely, that should be around 9 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to think about, okay, well, for in your industry and for what you sell, how many touches or meetings does it take to close an opportunity? On average, it takes 6 to 7.
That's right.
And then how quickly can you get the 6 to those 7 meetings lined up, meetings or touches of consequence, right? Could be a couple emails, could be a conversation, follow-up email, another Zoom, and then a closing meeting. Let's just say it's five interactions to close that. So you have to account for that level of touch. So the activity means I need to be active around my valid opportunities. You need more meetings. Let's just say if you were at that number of meeting your quota, you're going to need anywhere between 350 to 500 meetings a year.
Yeah.
It's a big number.
Well, and you're hitting on some really good stuff that I want to make a clear point on. That if you're watching and you're thinking about this stuff and you're realizing like, wow, this is really good to know, but like, I can't do all that, especially if you're the business owner. You can do all that probably. If you can, then something's wrong with where you spend your time, probably, right? And that's but that's the point, guys, right? Like you have to think through this and figure this out and look at the math, because before Bill gave this great in-depth guide to pipeline math, and I was saying 10 meetings to get the same close rate as last year. Well, that may not be where you want to go, though. Like if you want to be flat, that's what you want to do. That's really what that is. If you want to stay the same, then just do that. But chances are I haven't met a single person that's not telling me I want to grow, right? You want to grow your business. So when you start to do this math that Bill's talking about, it's getting way more clear that, whoa, we need more volume with meetings. And you, the leader or the business owner, can't do it. You need to think about how can you scale your SDR, sales account executive team, to really boost those numbers, because now that you have the math and you have the proven results to show you what at bare minimum, you can stay flat, what that looks like. Well, now if you can train up and put some people to help you in these SDR roles, well, now you can build a sales forecast that could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times the size of your last year, if you got people that can help you produce that volume, that produce that output. And that's the whole game here, guys. You're building a machine. That's what you really you're doing. You're building a mousetrap. You're building a machine that can generate output, generate productivity, because when it does, it yields X, because it's all mathed out. That's really what this is. I mean, if you take the human emotion out of it, which we all love what we do, we're very passionate about everything that we do in business and sales and how we do it Ascend. But if you just be objective, that's what we're building here, right? It's this framework. It's the system, and we're tweaking the system. You want to grow more sales, you probably need more output, a lot more. You want $1 million, you got to get 4 million in pipeline, most likely.
Yeah, and James, maybe we want to keep these our lives informative and really driven towards the business. But based on this conversation, I'm thinking I would love to make folks aware of some of the things we're doing to help folks accelerate this activity. Maybe, James, if you wanted to talk maybe a little bit about Ascend AI and some executive briefings that are coming up, some of the tools we have to help you do this acceleration, because we can't do it on our own, right? And no one should do it on their own and do it by themselves. So, maybe just an innocent commercial on some support that's available for our audience.
100%. I got something good for you guys here. I'm just trying to find it. But where is it here? Hold on. So while I'm looking for this, here we go. Nope, that's not it. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll double check that. But if you want a private briefing, guys, and you want us to walk through this with you, Bill and I do this all the time. We do this with business owners. We do planning with them. We sit down for a couple hours and we look at what the business systems are doing, or the lack thereof, and we help you think through how to put these in your company and make them work for you. One of the tools that we use that's amazing is we have an AI, lead generation conversational tool that focuses mostly on LinkedIn, but it helps the productivity that you don't have time for to get done, to warm up some new relationships and get you in the driver's seat, so that when they're responding and they're saying, I'm interested, you then can jump in and pick them up. We have a tool that's called Ascend AI that does that, and it's phenomenal. I mean, we're still totaling the numbers for this year, but thousands of new conversations with all of our clients this year that they didn't have before, with new prospects in their marketplace. So that, and also, if you're doing any kind of email marketing or promotion or newsletters or things like that you're trying to grow your brand, you're trying to communicate to your audience or to your clients or both, we've seen a lot of disorganization and lack of strategy around your email marketing and your CRM usage. And so we help companies with that as well, where we really connect everything from your website all the way through your different lead generation tools and systems, so that you can streamline how you prospect, how you consistently talk to folks, and communicate your value, communicate your brand message, identify, problem areas that your audience wants to talk about, and take them to the close, take them to a conversation, help them, and then sell your solution. So we have some really cool tools that we give and help companies with. But that link at the bottom there, I'm just going to double check, make sure that's the right one. I'm sorry, guys. I have.
We have
no,
so much, James.
No, you know what? That I'm sorry, guys. That's not the right one. I'll get you the right one. Just give me a second here. But Bill, why don't you jump in while I put that up on the screen?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that James and I wanted to do as we thought about accelerating this process was leverage some tools you're probably all familiar with. I would imagine most, if not all of you, have either heard of or are using in some way, shape or fashion, LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is the largest professional contact database in the world. It has it's approaching 500 million members, and it's a great platform for connections and also for promoting your thought leadership, and also being used for job creation, job search, job finding, and job postings. But as a tool, two things are missing. Number one, it's not really a tool to connect and follow up and do that in a regimented way. It all has to be manual, number one. Number two, it takes time. LinkedIn is a precious gem. These potential connections are very precious, and most folks rush in to trying to find relationships on LinkedIn. So what we've done is we've done two things. We perfected a process for how to leverage LinkedIn and engage, but also create some technology that matches LinkedIn with its partner application, Sales Navigator, to not only define a great list and determine who's right for you, but also determine who's also posting and socially active so that you can target the right people who want to have conversations online. And the whole nature of this process is about 3 steps. And I want you to put even if you don't use our solution, if you want to do better at leveraging LinkedIn, you have to think about 3 processes. We call it connect, engage, and meet. Connecting is about finding out who's right for you and earning the right for that connection. Typically with us, it's a very deferential, hopefully a credible message that says, listen, we've been coming up in the same leadership circles in our space. Really impressed with what you and your organization are doing. I'd be glad for our conversation on LinkedIn. Warmly, Bill. Warmly, James. We've got a pretty good hit rate on our first connections. Once you have
35%, 40%.
right? Very high.
Yeah.
Once you have that first connection now, it's now your job to engage. A giving hand is always full around this. Find out what they're posting, their point of view. Look at their title, their role, their industry, their geography. Be empathetic. What are they trying to accomplish? If they're posting anything or celebrating anything, get right in there and celebrate with them. And then as you post, go to these connections, say, listen, I would love your opinion on this thinking that I'm sharing. So you're building this engagement, right? So initially you're selling comfort. Hey, I'm a worthy connection. I'd be honored to be connected with you on LinkedIn. Number 2, I am going to provide you some credibility that I've worked hard on my thought leadership, and I would love to have you be my thinking partner. And I'm going to be a good doobie with you on LinkedIn and help us drive a dialogue in this particular space. Once you've done that and you've taken a look at who's coming to look at your profile, you're commenting on their profile, you're posting 2 to 3 to 4 times a week some articles of interest, either those that you write, you provide, or your digital marketing group is providing, or any articles or research that you're finding in the atmosphere, in the public domain, that you can share that with some commentary. Now you've earned the right to say, hey, listen, I've been great. It's been great to track with you. It seems like these are your issues. Let's try an offline conversation. I think we'd have a spirited conversation.
Yep.
And we can all do that right now. The problem is we can't do that at scale. So,
right.
And that's how James and I started to work together. And in full disclosure, I was a client before I joined Ascend Advisors, because I needed to get outside of myself. You know, I'm one of the first, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 members on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never leveraged it appropriately, not to the extent that I have now, thanks to Dr. Jacoby. So We've developed a tool just for you, and we're very careful about hawking our wares on these shows. But I think this has some merit, kind of given where we are in space and time.
Yeah, no, it's fast. It's fast action stuff. I mean, well, last example on this, and we'll close it out. But just the other day, like there's a couple of new clients we brought on board that have huge lists. Like if you have a huge list, guys, you have not really nurtured and marketed to properly, that to figure out of that list who is really your ideal audience and engage potential buyers, we definitely got to talk, because we have this incredible system that you can take any list you want, put it through the ringer in this automated workflow that we've built, and it will show you who's interested in your product or service. And it's there's a lot of sweat equity in it, but it's amazing, and it's really your 1-2 punch and your long-term foundational email marketing strategy for lists. So love to share that with you. If you have a big list and you want to learn how to market better to it, improve your deliverability and response rates, all that stuff, talk to us, because we had some cool stuff on that.
And James, is there a chance you can put on the screen where folks can access more information about Ascend AI? Do we have that?
Yeah, I get the link here for that. Just a second. I just put the link up, guys, for that client briefing. That's a private hour with us. VIP. We'll talk with you about what you need in your business, what's working, what's not working, some of these systems that we're talking about, and see how we can, help you discover what is it that you need right now to get acceleration in your sales, acceleration in meetings booked, acceleration in more deals closing. There's different things you got to take a look at with that. So here we go. Yep, there we go. So if you guys take that link, ascendai.ascendadvisors.com, that'll give you some information about how we're using AI to do incredible stuff on our prospecting. Now, if you've toyed around with with AI, I will tell you that it's not perfect. I'm not saying ours isn't, but I'm saying most people aren't using it right. And I have a passionate plea in a soapbox. I won't go totally into it now, but I just wanted to say that if you do decide to use technology and tools like this, it will not completely replace what you have to do yourself to talk with people. It's leveraging productivity. It's great, but you need to have awesome messaging, period. Like you have to have great messaging. And and you have to be active in your conversations. You got to jump in and really lead them home. If you're not willing to do that, the tool is not going to work, and you're just going to waste your time. So truth moment, but that's the reality. And we've seen a lot of people use different tools and then they realize that that's why it's not working. So, but this works. We have messaging that we do with you and the productivity tool, and it's awesome. And you get amazing conversations. So talk to us about that if you're interested. We gave a lot of stuff at you guys today to round this out. If you just caught the second half, go back to watch the first. But this live show today was built to help you think through quickly, how can you leverage more sales right now? How can you create them, and how to get your calendars booked for January? It's all in there. Go back and watch the replay, and then contact us if you want to talk. We're here to help you right now. We can make an impact in your business literally right away. We are super fast, and we got systems on the go, ready to go, that we can put in your company, and you can see a huge difference before Christmas. So, Bill, good to see you.
James, great to see you. Thank you, everybody. Happy holidays. We're just so glad to be with you, and we cannot wait to talk to you again.
See you next time.